Let's do pumpkin face. And this is pumpkin. This is pumpkin face. This is pumpkin
It
man.
is not my place as a
Pumpkin
smaller
man.
bodied white man to comment on it.
What's in the box?
All right. Pumpkin man.
Body positivity is for burn victims and amputees, not for lazy, overweight snowflakes with no drive or self-respect.
Dead on. Now, you might think, oh my God, he went super based. And he does look a little bit puffy. He gained a little bit of fasky. So this says in parentheses, a quote from my comment section. Body positivity is for burn victims and amputees. Straight fact. Straight, absolute fact. Not for lazy, overweight snowflakes with no drive or self-respect. Absolute, like that's end of the video. Nailed it. Absolute fucking nailed it.
I gave it a 10.
Nailed it.
A fucking 10.
100,000%. He's looking a little rough, right? Getting more pumpkin-y, right? Looks a little bit like inflamed there. Just saying. Take care of yourself. Go do some cozy cardio.
Body positivity is for burn victims and amputees, not for lazy, overweight
voice
snowflakes
sounds
with no
different.
drive or self-respect. Ooh, sorry, but thin white gym bros didn't come up with and don't get to redefine body positivity.
Thin white gym bros didn't come up with it and don't get to redefine body positivity. Now let's think about this. If we're talking about the Marxists and communists and leftists like this guy, soy boys, male feminists, who's doing the redefining? Who's trying to redefine what a woman is? Who's trying to redefine what recession is? Who's trying to memory hole all the definitions? Who's doing that? Who's trying to redefine what gender means and like sex? Who's trying to do all the redefining? Again, the left is full of hypocrites. They will blame you for what they do. That's what the left does. That's what they've always done. And that's what they will continue to do. Let's keep going.
Doesn't matter because I'm right.
Let's go back to that for a second. I saw a comment and that's absolutely right. Leslie says, why does he go to be racist? Notice how the comment said, body positivity is for burn victims and amputees, not for lazy, overweight snowflakes with no drive or self-respect. Said nothing about Asians, Hispanics, Black, right? And then his response is like, oh, sorry, but thin white gym bros didn't come up. What does the skin color have to do with anything here? Exactly. The racism is strong with these people, right? When they blame you for being a racist, it's because they're racist. They're racists. Why are you having segregation? Look at what the actions are, right? At these colleges, you have like meetings for black only, whites not allowed. Like that's segregation. That's racism. When you're hiring based on race, that's racism. Straight up. Okay, this is too obvious and too easy, but let's continue.
Ooh, sorry, but thin white gym bros didn't come up with and don't get to redefine body positivity. Doesn't matter because I'm right. Just because you have enough cultural capital and privilege to appropriate movements that aren't yours.
Cultural capital. Holy shit. Cultural capital. But my capitalism. Cultural capital. Yeah, Matt the Great, Kamala Harris was a diversity hire. Yeah, and we see how that works out. At least she's taking care of the border, though. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Okay. Build that wall. Here we go.
Not get called on it, or God forbid, get praised for it, doesn't mean that you should or that you're right. All I'm saying is that body positivity is for people who didn't make their bodies that way due to their own irresponsibility.
Okay, so this guy, Chody McChoderson, is trying to make it seem like, yeah, well, all I'm saying, I guess let's just say he's trying to be me. He's trying to be someone that's like speaking straight facts, that is not trying to tiptoe over the reality of the situation. So if you're listening, he's going back and forth between like, this is what the comment person says. All I'm saying is that body positivity is for people who didn't make their bodies that way due to their own irresponsibility. Can anyone point out the lie? Yeah, the body positivity should be for people that did not choose these attributes. You're born with 3 limbs. Yeah. What are you going to do? Jump off a bridge? You got to move forward. So you need to move forward things that you did not choose. Super based. In other words, you shoot yourself in the foot and then you're like, oh, but my foot. It's like, well, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Oh my God, but I'm beautiful the way I am. You're like, you made yourself that way. Why do you? No, I'm not going to pat you on the back for being a fat, lazy fuck.
So you're saying that individuals in bodies that don't meet the way that you think
Wrong.
people should look.
Wrong. It's such a fucking grift. This guy is such a dumbass. So you're saying that individuals in bodies that don't meet the way that you think people should look. No, that's not at all what the comment that even he stated said. Don't meet the way that you think they should look. No, we're talking about people that have traits and issues and situations that are of no fault of their own. They didn't put themselves in that situation. Like if you do cliff diving and you end up getting injured and paralyzed, no one's going to be like pointing and laughing, but it's kind of par for the course, right? It's a very high risk activity. Are you shocked that you got an injury? It's tragic, but at the same time, it's not as tragic as someone like a family driving home from a movie at night and a drunk driver hits them and, kills like the child. Like that's, it's a lot different. Like you're undertaking that risk. If you're just driving home from a family outing and something happens, that is a real tragedy. If you're in those fucking squirrel suits and you're jumping off cliffs and you die, like the death percentage is like 50%. Like you're high chance of dying. No one's like clapping for it, but it's kind of like, what do you expect? Don't jump off cliffs in a squirrel suit if you don't want to die, or if you want to dramatically reduce your risk of death. Okay.
Shouldn't get to show up in society.
Okay.
You think that don't meet responsibility. So you're saying that individuals in bodies that don't meet the way that you think people should look shouldn't get to show up in society without criticism unless it's not their fault that they look that way? Yes, I am. Cool, so you're still wrong. We know from decades of research that maintained weight loss is impossible for nearly everyone.
Matt Damon.
We know from decades of research that actually not being a fat ass is impossible for nearly everyone. Guess what? Because most people don't know how to be healthy. They're not taught this. And they're fed poison. And they're encouraged to eat poison and not eat meat. And eat fucking Soylent Green. And bread. And fucking vegetable oils. And seed oils. And stay inside instead of going outside. Oh, it's the COVID. It's the COVID McCovertson. The boogeyman's coming. Stay inside. Don't get vitamin D. Don't get quality sleep. Drink alcohol, though. Watch Netflix more and Disney Plus. Shut the fuck up.
And even if that weren't the case, no one should be punished for showing up in society as they are.
Who's being punished? Like nature's going to punish you because you're sick. Who's being punished? What fat person is being punished? Can someone tell me what fat person is being punished? In fact, they're being lauded. They're being applauded. They're being promoted. They're on the cover of magazines. Quite the opposite. Again, hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy. It's bullshit. And then if I come out and I say, well, you're not taking care of your health, you're bad. Oh, Papa Swole, bullying and harassment. If you can't criticize someone, they're the ones in power. All right. So it's nonsense. They're not being punished. They're being celebrated everywhere. So fuck all the way off.
Everyone should have that right to show up without being discriminated against.
What are you talking about? To show up where? To show up where? For an audition to get into Juilliard? Like, what are we talking about here? To be a ballerina at 350 pounds? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
But it's not about how you look to people. That's shallow. It's about health. But it isn't about health, is it? Because you don't know anything about the habits or illnesses or causes of illness of the fat people you harass on the internet.
Maybe he is actually talking about me. Okay. It's really hard to calmly read these idiotic statements, but I feel like I have to give them the same attention. That I know it's like arguing with like a third grader that just got off the short bus, but we're going to finish it and we'll move on. Because you don't know anything about the habits or illnesses or causes of illness of the fat people you harass on the internet. So chicken or the egg? If someone has a major illness, like this is not about them. If they have a major illness that they were born with since they were like a baby. A lot of illnesses, chicken, like what caused it? Oh, you have diabetes. Like type 2 diabetes. You ain't born with that, champ. You're changing the argument. We're talking about people that are absolutely in control of this, this is the cause of what they've done. You don't know anything about the habits or illnesses. Pretty much do. Notice a lot of people will say like, well, I have a condition. They don't say what it is. Yeah, I'm not saying that they have to. It's medical, it's personal, but they just say it. Of course you have a thyroid problem. You suck down kale or chemical trash for 30 years and you wonder why your organs don't function. You don't know about the habits of the morbidly obese people. I can take a fucking guess. I can take a stab in the dark. It's like playing Russian roulette with 4 in the chamber. It's not a hard one.
Even if you did, illness is not a legitimate or justified basis for discrimination.
I've never discriminated someone based on an illness. That's pretty fucked up. But what I will say is pretending like the illness isn't a result, certain illnesses that aren't a result from your habits, hiding behind the illness as a shield. People do it with depression. People do it with ADHD. People do it with time blindness. People do it with insomnia. It's like they have terrible habits and wonder why they can't go to sleep. They have terrible habits. They wonder why they're morbidly obese. They have terrible habits and they wonder why they have organ failure. That's it. That's it. No one is discriminating. You have an illness. How dare you have cancer? But cancer is like 80 or 90% environmental. It's like what you subject yourself to. Certain people with genetics might be more predisposed, but most of it is what you expose your body to. Constant radiation, Wi-Fi, pollution, garbage food, smoking, drinking alcohol, right? Okay.
So stop. Just stop. You are causing so much harm. Stop.
Nowhere near the harm that I experienced from watching this video. Did someone say he's got a girlfriend? I mean, is her name Aunt Peg? Because he definitely, if someone said he has a girlfriend, he's definitely getting railed. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, there's that. There's that. What we got here? Okay.
So I'll take the tea without the covert diabetes delivery mechanism, please.
Yeah, and that's none. Look, nothing wrong with not being straight, my opinion, but yeah. We call that hetero no. Okie dokie. Yikes. 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 Yoinks. That was a juicy one. I feel like it was, it's funny. It's like, I feel like that was a good impersonation of me. If that was me, it's like, yeah, I mean, like everything he was saying in the blue shirt, I have a shirt that looks like that too. Listen to the things that the meanie person said. Body positivity is for burn victims and amputees, not for lazy, overweight snowflakes with no driver's self-respect. Check. Next one. All I'm saying is that body positivity is for people who didn't make their bodies that way due to their own irresponsibility. Check, check. Let's see. Scroll. Is there anything else? But it's not about how you look to people. That's shallow. It's about health. It is about health because how you look to people oftentimes will relate directly to you being healthy. Can you be thin and have cancer? Of course. If you're on chemo and stuff, you lose weight and you'll be thinner. But it's like just because you're slender doesn't mean you're healthy. So there's the argument, right? If you're thin, look, you have low muscle mass. That's not healthy either. So if you're, I don't know, skinnier, that doesn't mean you're healthy. But just because being skinnier doesn't mean that you're healthy, doesn't mean that if you're fat, you're like you're healthy. Like both can be true. Like you can be skinny and not necessarily healthy, and you can be fat and not healthy. That's not a good sign. When I say fat, I mean like you're fat. That's not healthy. That's a sign that you have terrible habits. Okay? So being fat's not healthy, but being skinny isn't necessarily healthy. So using that argument isn't proving your point. It's just saying like, yeah, that's what, shocker. Shocker. Square's not a circle. God, fucking didn't think about that. That's right. The shapes thing. The shapes thing. This guy plays that game like with the kids at the doctor's office. Like, put the square in the square. What the fucking one in there? He pushes the little abacus beads around the up and down. All right. That guy definitely does cozy cardio.